And so,
Yeah.
how long were you training before you started actually doing bouts?
Um, well, it was only when I started doing pad work with Johnny. So the first, I can't remember how long it would have been. It felt like forever, but it probably was only about a month or two, right? And then we'd start doing some pad work. And Johnny asked me how fit I was, and I played soccer at the time as well. And I said, "Look, I'm fit." And he goes, "Well, are you fight ready?" And I said, "Of course I am." So he said, "Okay." So there was an event at South Juniors. So he goes, "Okay, well, we're going to put you into your first fight at South Juniors." So I was still 13. Probably trained there for, as I said, maybe 2 or 3 months, right? And my brother Sam used to, take me and pick me up and whatnot. And when he heard Johnny tell me that he was going to put me into a fight, my brother sort of said, "Well, hold on, we need to ask our parents." My brother was 8 years older than me, so he would have been 21 at that stage and drove. And he said, "Well, I'm not so happy for you to actually put Parry in a fight. He's just to train." And Johnny said to him, "Mate, I have not been hit harder by a 13-year-old. Both his hands, left and right, hit incredibly hard." So we went into our first fight,
Yeah, right.
nervous
Okay.
as at South Juniors, nervous as hell. I was so nervous that I started crying in the dressing rooms, and I didn't want to do this. And I was told that I need to conquer my fears and all that. And
Hmm.
reluctantly, I went into the ring, or went out of the dressing rooms and went up the 4 steps and into the ring. And I didn't want to do it, didn't want to be there, scared as hell. The other kid looked bigger than me, right? And the bout went for about, I don't know, 25 seconds, and I landed a straight left hand, and the ref stopped the fight. So my
Oh,
first
really?
fight, yeah, I think it was the
Wow.
second
Okay.
punch
So,
I
how?
actually landed.
Was it just a really heavy shot, and it was kind of obvious that
It was a
you're going
crisp
one
shot.
direction from there?
My first shot, like, initially you dance around a little bit, so I thought, okay, this is just like training, like sparring. Um, and his defense, his hands were a little bit open, so I thought, okay, I'm just gonna throw a little punch in there and see what happened, and it landed. And the second punch, thought to myself, okay, let's snap one out, and I snapped it out, hit him. He took steps back, and ref went over, put a standing out count on him. Right, had a look at him, and he said, "Okay, that's it. You've had enough."
Yeah, right. Wow. Overall, all very quick.
Very quick.
So I got two questions. How did that feel? And then where did you go from there? Like, how did it take off?
How did it feel? It felt like I'd done something wrong, and I felt like I needed to apologize and ask for forgiveness. I didn't. I didn't think I hit him that hard, so I apologized. And his coach told me that they appreciated what I said, but coach told me that you did nothing wrong. You shouldn't be apologizing. You should be celebrating your victory. You shouldn't be feeling bad.
So, how did you celebrate then?
Um, well, I had other guys from Newtown boxing, so I got took off my gloves and my wraps and changed and went outside. And I think I went and bought a Coke, and I sat down on the seat and watched the others fight.